Daily Dose of Dopamine. I'm Susan. That's Robert. We're talking about Robert's book, which is being released in a pre-order form today, which is his 54th birthday. The name of the book is Acceptance. There's a lot in that word. There's a lot in that title. I was just saying in our last dose, you blew me away with the concept of taking on a book, and I couldn't figure out why you did it. Can you tell me?
Mm.
Can you tell us what it was for you? Why you wrote it?
Thank you for that
Why
question.
you
Actually,
wanted to
why?
write it?
Um, what comes up a little bit in the book, and actually I thought was going to be more of the theme earlier on, was that thing called my DIY MF PhD, right? That was a pretty heavy theme for the second half, the last year and a half. Once I knew I was on my own, right, within this incredibly difficult thing, and thankfully within the group, especially with Dustin, and I mentioned that because of him having the insight. Not that you didn't know and enjoy it too,
Oh,
but Dustin
yeah.
was walking the road with me. He really got it, and he really validated me. And I just can't say enough about Dustin. And your compliment at the end, where you got about the value of him, meant a lot to me too. So why do it? I knew it was important to the academic part of it was super important because it was tantamount, not tantamount, it was abuse. Let's just put it out there. It was abusive what I went through. It was an abusive situation that these powers that be treated me the way they did, and how powerless I felt was unacceptable for the student experience, and it needs to stop. And I feel extraordinarily strongly about that, and academia can and needs to do better. Um, and there is student responsibility as well. I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes. I'm not saying I was perfect. Certainly wasn't. But the environment was toxic, and the people who wielded power were horrific at times. And that needs to be discussed further. And that's the point of the book. Not the only point. That was the point of getting that story out. Now, where my DIY MF PhD meets the Parkinson's prison, right? So there's the collision, right? That we didn't know, you and I, when I graduated, exactly what was next for Yaks. We were very heavy on the improv side, right? Turned out that wasn't going to pay the bills, not to the degree we needed it to. And Parkinson's prison was kind of a shot in the dark to go, either this works or we just may have to kind of abandon this until we figure it out. And Parkinson's prison worked hugely, right? Which was the second part of what came out of the the dissertation, was the feeling of being trapped. So here was the collision between my MF, my DIY MF PhD, and the Parkinson's prison. And I was battling between these two things. And I was going, how do I tell this? And since you guys were writing, I just said, okay, since you're writing in the Parkinson's prison, I'm going to write. What am I writing? I guess it's a book. I don't really know.
Yes, it's a book.
I guess it's a book. I don't know how long. I don't really know. But that's the point of so many of our day one things, right? Is it's okay to not know. It's the point of the hero's journey. It's okay to not know. And so I was being reinforced the whole time by all of your bravery and strength and allowance of me to, educate myself as I was educating you all. And you're right too, to the point of there was a handbook, right? And there still is. There's a second part. It was almost, I think, at one point, chapter 2 or book 2. It still exists, but I at some point when I got the lovely Ashley Asti involved as an editor, I realized this is a book unto itself without that. And that still may be a separate workbook or something, but it's not the most important thing right away. The most important thing is to get this story out because, well, fitting with the National Plan to End Parkinson's Act and everything else, this is the elevation of all of your voices. It's for all of us. And by the way, to start reaching out to all those who haven't told their story yet too, and say, this place exists and you need to come and get in because we need your voice. So that's why, the book had to be a book, and it all in a serendipitous way came down here to my birthday.
It did. So let's back up about a year and a half almost, I think.
Yeah.
Your new committee. told you you had to tell your story, did they not?
Yeah, let's put that into the next dose. We'll tease
Oh,
that part of the
sure.
story,
Up to
because there's
5.
the break of the old and the new committee and all that good stuff. Okay, we'll bring it in the next dose. See you. Please check acceptance, get your pre-order. It's down there, and share that book. Thank you.
Mhm.